Today, we're getting boutique. Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. That's right, today we're checking out a boutique guitar from Israel, which kinda ties into our little festive season here as far as the true meaning of Christmas goes. But look at this old world design. It's an electric guitar that has a lot of 20s through 50s elements brought into it. But wait until you check out this headstock. That's a little bit freaky. So this guitar from 2017 is way outside of my normal wheelhouse of stuff we document on the show, but it's been brought in on consignment, so if you're interested in it, you can find it on my website, troglysguitarshow.com. I thought we'd learn a little bit about it, because when I first saw this, I kind of thought it kind of looks like one of those Gibson Blues Hawks or a Nighthawk. It's Les Paul-like, but stretched out, but I don't think that's what they were even going for here. It's more so like an old acoustic archtop guitar, but yet they dialed it up to the nines. Like, this has a figured maple top over all of it. However, they covered it in black and just exposed the edges to kind of give it a natural maple binding here. That, of course, is all figured. And then we got the blingy gold hardware with what looks like a brass pickguard on this. And then we even have the sights paperwork to prove that this is a true Brazilian rosewood fretboard. The slotted headstock is a really interesting choice on these guys for an electric guitar. I mean, this looks like a Spanish classical one to me. So I might not be the right guy to appreciate this for all of its cool little intricate details as far as appreciating 30s and 40s specs, but it is an interesting guitar. I mean, you even have your F-holes reversed on this. So let's learn a little bit more about this company, B&G. They're located in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it was co-founded by three guys, Yotam Goldstein, Avi Goldfinder, and Eliran here, but unfortunately he doesn't have a gold last name like the other two. But basically, these guys do everything by hand on their private and custom builds. So we're talking the pickups, they do them themselves, casting their own brass hardware. They use old world finish styles, they use the highest quality woods that they can source. As far as the boutique builder goes, they seem to be pretty reputable and they offer things at various price points. So you've got the Little Sister models, which is the guitar that we're looking at today. I don't remember the B&G branding ever, but I do remember hearing the Little Sister branding somewhere. Then you've got the Big Sister, which is the bass version of this. They also offer acoustics, as well as the electric guitar called Helena. But they also offer a Crossroads edition. So if you like everything you're seeing here, there is a Chinese-made version that starts at about $1,500. So yeah, that's a lot more affordable as compared to the custom ones. Now these custom and private build ones, like we're looking at today, they're kind of expensive, not gonna lie. I mean, just the starting point on these is usually around $4,000, but to get one with a Brazilian rosewood fretboard, I'm not sure if they're still currently doing that or not. I couldn't find the option on their website. But as far as my first impressions here, I really like the case. It's very familiar looking, and it's also made by TKL up in Canada. It's a nice maroon color here, not in your face purple, very subdued. I like that it's got the double neck rest, and they offer a whole bunch of different finishes on here. So if the ebony with the exposed maple cap isn't quite your thing, you can get any one of these numerous other finishes that are also out there. And I mean, if you wanted a trans blue, they would do it for you. And despite looking really oblong in photos, it feels pretty comfortable. I mean, your arm rests right where it needs to be picking wise. And it kind of feels like playing a classical guitar that has a headstock like this. Even the neck profile is actually a little bit chunky, but not like over the top. But like the heel starts way up here on the neck. So that'll take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not necessarily uncomfortable to play up here. Despite not having like any access swoops or carves or anything, it's got such a deep cutaway that you don't really even have to worry about it. It just kind of chunks up a little bit here. But besides the sights paperwork that we have in here, what else do they include? Looks like a couple of extra screws for something, 2 B&G picks, a case key, and then a COA. Not as thick as the Gibson versions, but still a nice little booklet nonetheless. Tells you the model, the serial number, and even more nicely, all the specs. So they make a non-cutaway version and a cutaway. So I guess that depends on how antique you want to go. Then whatever types of mahogany that they use, the type of rosewood, as well as what kind of pickups they put in there. And hey, nice! It's the signature of the 3 founders. So cool little package here. So to learn a little bit more about what makes this guitar tick, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench to take a look at its parts and specs. Inside the Little Sister, let's reveal its secrets. First off, normally this thing is known as a tenon cover because it hides the neck tenon if there's a gap between the neck and the pickup. However, when I took it off, I was shocked. That's actually your truss rod cover on this particular guitar. That's one of those wheel style truss rods. And then after realizing that, it's like, oh, yeah, there is no truss rod access up here. But what do our hand-wound pickups look like on the backside? Honestly, very similar to Gibson's. You just don't have any markings. I think it'd be cool if they put like a B&G water slide decal on it or something. The bridge pickup looks about the same as well. Looks like the bridge is 8.42 k ohms. Our neck position a little bit less at 7.28. And the middle, just for fun, 3.93. Now it doesn't look like we have any neck tenon within our neck pickup cavity, so it just stops right here. But to be fair, that is still a pretty long tenon because the neck really goes into the body right here at the 14th fret. It's just got this super cutaway over here. And here's what the bridge pickup one looks like. So from their website, I thought they were custom making these, but no, it's Faber made in Germany, but still a very nice bridge, ABR1 in style. And now our tailpiece. Where did that go? For our tailpiece, what does it say? Took me a second to realize it. It just reads Little Sister, which is the name of this model, as we had just learned. Now this completely looks handmade, so I would totally believe that. And it just functions by putting the ball end of the strings right here, so it's like a normal tailpiece after that. So it mounts using 2 screws down here, and then your strap button, and then that's a grounding wire, not a scratch. Now on a high-end boutique guitar, I was a little bit shocked to see this. It looks like the strap button might have broke out, and then before they shipped it out, they just doweled it and then re-drilled. But I guess now that I look over here, yeah, they must have just installed it slightly off-center, and then they moved it. I guess it's a victimless crime. You can't see it when you have it on there, but something to know about. But hey, this kind of looks like a little face. You got 2 eyes, that's his nose, and then you got his mouth going, ah! And then another face I found on this guitar is like, imagine this isn't here. You got 2 eyes, and then this is his mouth. It's just a friendly little guy there. Kind of reminds me of like a handlebar mustache or something. I could see that being a mascot for their company. As far as the electronics, very simple. 3-way switch, master volume, master tone. And when he first brought this guitar over, I was in disbelief that this actually had a full-on maple top to it. I thought for sure that this would have just been a flamed maple binding that they applied around the entire edge of the guitar. That would be pretty labor-intensive to bend the wood, but surely they wouldn't cover over a beautiful maple top with this black finish, right? But then he pointed me to the F-holes, that they actually have the black top layer, then they expose the maple wood right here, and then they also paint it black on the sides to give you a really cool effect. It helps make the F-holes stand out, and stand out they do, besides just being upside down from regular. I guess someone will have to fill me in. Is this like a harkening back to a particular model, or is that just a, hey, we wanted to be different type thing? But even that wasn't quite enough to convince me, because I mean, you technically could maybe inlay wood. That would be very difficult to do. But if you look in your pickup cavity here, despite the black finish, you can see the maple top is about that thick. I'd say that's about a 1/2 inch before it joins onto the mahogany body here, that you can see slightly exposed right here. And since you don't see too much flame figuring around here, I suppose you could say, well, what if it is a real wood binding and then they just put like a plain top underneath here? This was the final thing that convinced me that, yes, they just covered over a beautiful flame top. If you get it in the light just right, this must be a ridiculously thin finish because you can actually see the flame underneath the black coloring. Now, it's not like you can see it move or anything, but you can see the lines forming underneath it. So I think that's why they did it. So you could see that when the guitar was clean. You can also tell it's a 2-piece center seam, so a little bit hard to see in video, but it is there after I polished it up. And I can see that definitely harkening back to old world specs. So that's just kind of a cool thing if you know to look at it. That makes this black version a little bit more unique. And then I would say this guitar looks better without a pickguard in my opinion. But here's what the pickguard itself looks like. Definitely looks handmade to me. The pickguard has a cool almost texture to it. You can't feel that, but it's like within it. So I'm not sure if that's like a machining mark, but it does make it look pretty fancy. That pretty much wraps up the top. Let's move on to our mahogany neck. This is a very dark Brazilian rosewood fretboard. There's only like a few red streaks in here, so it matches very well with the finish of this one. So the whole hand-selected aspect of it definitely seems to be ringing true. Lots of nice wood grain, and it appears we have acrylic dot inlays. I guess I could be wrong on that. And it looks like they're going for a 24 3/4 inch scale length. As far as neck specs go, 1.7 at the nut, 2.08 by the 12th. With the first fret neck depth of 0.88, and we can't take it at the 12th for obvious reasons, so let's take it at the 10th to give us 0.99, so pretty chunky rounded C neck. Here's the neck profile at the 1st and 10th fret, It kind of has a soft V, almost a U-shaped neck thing going on. The shoulders decay very quickly, and then you have like a flat spot on the back. And then it's almost a C shape here. Definitely not a neck profile that I've seen too often. So their logo is actually screwed to the top. Now I removed the 2 screws, but it was still stuck there, so it might be barbed and or glued. I didn't want to mess with it and accidentally like chip the finish or anything, so sorry, I can't show you the back side of that. But here's what those tuners look like on the side. They're the fancy bar style, open gears and all, small buttons for the adjustments. And you basically just string it up like normal, except for instead of it sticking up the headstock, it's sticking in the side and making it look confusing. Moving on to the backside, you have more evidence of it being a very thin finish. Really hard to show this on camera, but you kind of get the effect right here. So in person, imagine it without all the reflections and everything. You can just kind of see the mahogany wood grain show through on all of it. It actually looks rather quite elegant. Kind of like a hair of the dog type finish, but without the colored grain fill, I guess. But inside here, we can see how it's all wired up. Some of the solder work looks a little amateurish, but most of them look pretty good. And here you can see the backside of the maple top. Now, if you move it around a little bit, you can see the figuring. So if you needed even more definite proof, there you go. The back plate is also custom made by them, of a brass material. And it's such a tight fit, they just leave a little bit of extra room right here, that way you can pry it off if you need to get in there. Because that's the problem, these things are so thin, you can't get them off any other way. Same thing with the pick guard and everything. But with this one being recessed into the body, it definitely sits well below the recessing. However, that's kind of a good thing that they're thin, because you guys will see for a special New Year's episode what happens when you leave it full thickness. It gets really heavy. But the output jack is fancy. I don't know why they felt to make that fancy, but it kind of looks like a evil mouse. Like that's its ears, that's its eyes, and he's wearing like a fancy hat. So that was kind of cool to see. But just for fun, let's break out the endoscope to see how they constructed this. So we can see lots of glue seep out here from where they put the top to apparently the center block. But oh, okay, they actually have a big cavity under here, so that means everything is connected. So we've got like a center block going on, and then down here is like where the strap button goes through. So they got an extra little hump right there, so it's got extra wood so it doesn't crack. And then yeah, you can see all the figured maple right here now. Then this is the other side kind of going up towards the cutaway areas. It's getting a little bit thin up here, but it is completely chambered out and they don't have any kerfing on the edges or anything. So it just appears to be a chambered out mahogany body that they throw a maple top into. So let's go ahead and check out the other side. Just for fun, going in this way. So I missed that earlier. There's a B&G stamp, and this is up towards the neck area. A little bit easier to see on this one since we don't have all the other wires in our way. And this is back towards the bottom where we saw the strap button, but through the other side. So I'm really glad I broke that out, because I thought for sure this just had like a center block, and then like this was slightly chambered, and then this was slightly chambered. But no, it's completely chambered out in like a big fancy U shape here, and you just have the center block that allows for this to be drilled directly into it, but then this area is open. So kind of like the Gibson Midtown series in a roundabout way. So if you actually wanted to modify this to have a stop bar tailpiece, I mean, you'd have to like put it right directly behind the bridge, and I'm not even sure if that would be possible at that point. So I think that pretty well covers it for the body. Now we've got the neck. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. So your heel starts right there, pretty much about at your 11th or 12th fret. So anything on top of that, you have not only the heel, but also the thickness of the body, which to be fair, looks like it's about 1.75 inches, so just slightly under 2 inches. In the back of the neck, we do have a few stray scratches. I mean, this thing was very well kept. Pretty much anything that I was seeing that was wrong cleaned up nicely. And here's what the backside of our headstock looks like. I'm assuming their serial numbers are read as year, and then maybe production number, because that matches up to 2017. And all said and done here, it weighs 6 pounds, 15 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how this boutique little sister sounds. Brace yourselves. I think you're really gonna like. Love the tones out of these pickups, and they're hand wound by them, so that's exclusive to them. Those sound really good. I love that neck pickup. got that woody tone to it. That middle position has a good raunchiness to it, I guess is the best way to put that. But now wait till you hear some dirt with these. I'll be honest, I didn't really love the looks of this guitar, but after plugging it in, these are fantastic pickups. Something else I noticed with the volume controls is it's very, very aggressive. Like this is full on 10 with the distortion. This is at 6, it cleans up so nicely. By 2.5 and 3, it's clean again. I guess the only downside to having a master volume and master tone is if you wanted just your neck to be quiet and then like quickly switch to a bridge position attacking tone, you can't quite do that. But the neck pickup does clean up just as nice. Now just a quick acoustic test here. It's about as good as a chambered out mahogany body guitar with F-hole sounds. I mean, it's not filling the room by any means, but it's got a good projection. Now that we know all about the B&G little sister model, what are my final thoughts on this? Yeah, was not expecting it to sound anywhere near as good as this. I just thought I'd do the full review and demo since it was here on consignment because that was a little bit different than normal, but still within the realm of what I kind of understand. But wow, these pickups just absolutely fantastic. I don't know if they sell them separately or if you have to buy their whole guitar, but their custom wound pickups are just fantastic. I was initially saying, man, I really wish I would have had the P90 version, but no regrets having this humbucker one to demo today. It's certainly an acquired taste. However, the more and more you see this thing, the more you can appreciate everything that they packed into such a tiny little package here. So, Troglodytes, if you're interested in being the next owner of this really cool guitar, you can check it out on my website, troglysguitarshow.com, or see it on Reverb. I mean, yeah, it's boutique. It's got a Brazilian rosewood fretboard. It's gonna be expensive, but it's still a lot cheaper than a Gibson Brazilian rosewood guitar. But if nothing else, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode and liked learning about this Israeli company. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed my documentation of this boutique guitar, how about you check out one from Ukraine that we documented last year known as the Valiant Smith. It might be kind of a strange name, but it's got flamed figuring galore.